Hello everyone, welcome to another video. My name is Alex and today I'm talking about Pantheon in Season 11. I made a guide video several months ago, earlier this year, about Pantheon. Really popular video it's one of my more popular videos. Everyone really seemed to like it, but now that Season 11 is coming up, there's been a lot of changes to Pantheon and I wanted to go over them, make a new guide for him so you can get started in playing the champion. If you want to pick him up or you're just learning the legends, this is the video for you. Here's a beginner's guide to Season 11 Pantheon. Pantheon is one of my favorite champions. Season 11 looking really good for him after his buffs changes, I guess. He has new armor pen and stuff on his ultimate that helps him later in the game. He can be played pretty much anywhere. Maybe not ADC, but you know, who knows? You can give something a try. Try it out, tell me how it goes. He's super fun and a really fun play style, kind of like hit and go, just like always going in. Really fun champion, lots of fun skills, really good utility. Just overall, just a good champion. I'd like you to give him a try. As usual, you can skip through each section to find the ones that you like. If you don't like a section or you don't want to listen to one, you've seen it before, or you know what he does, you can skip him around. I'll put it in the description, but also you can just like scrub around throughout the video. If you enjoyed the video and want to watch more videos like this, slap that subscribe button like it was your ex-boyfriend, and also maybe leave a like. So let's move on to the skills. Pantheon's passive is called Mortal Will. Whenever Pantheon uses a basic ability or attacks, he gets a stack of Mortal Will at up to 5 stacks, and at 5 stacks, his next basic ability consumes it and grants bonus effects, and we'll go over those effects throughout each ability. His Q is called Comet Spear. Pantheon starts charging up his spear, and then he's slowed for a little bit, and then you can let it go and throw it. It deals damage as it goes through, increased to enemies below 20% of their maximum health, but it only deals max damage to the first enemy hit, and is reduced by 50% to anything beyond the first. The other part of this ability is that instead of charging it, you can quickly tap the ability to do a thrust attack instead of a charged throw. It deals the same physical damage, but it refunds 60% of the cooldown, so it's a much quicker way to just do a lot of damage. You can keep thrusting, especially when you have like more cooldown reduction later in the game. The upgraded version of this through your passive basically just does bonus damage, just does more damage. That's all it does. It does more damage. Pantheon's W is called Shield Vault. Point and click ability that stuns. He just leaps onto a target and stuns him for a second. Deals physical damage but scales with AP. The passive version of this, his next basic attack within 4 seconds of using the ability is unstoppable and strikes the target 3 times, dealing more physical damage, and also applies crit strikes and on hit effects. Super useful for early game and like does a lot of damage in the early game. And if you're building something like Eclipse or Trinity Force, kind of fun. Pantheon's E is called Aegis Assault. He braces his shield in front of him and he starts like stabbing a bunch with his shield. It just makes him invulnerable in front of him. Any damage coming in that direction is nullified completely, except turrets, obviously, because that got changed recently. If you're moving backwards away from the direction that you're shielding, you move a little bit slower, but if you move forward, you move the same speed that you usually do. The empowered version of the ability is after he does his slam attack. Once he's finished the channel, he does a slam attack, a shield slam. He gains a 60% bonus movement speed for a little while after doing the slam. So kind of useful for like running away or just giving you some movement speed randomly to chase down targets. And Pantheon's ultimate is called Grand Starfall. Now with the new changes that were given to him in the recent patch, he has bonus armor pen now. So he gains armor pen for each level of the ultimate, going from 10, 20 to 30%. When you activate the ability, Pantheon channels for a couple seconds and then he leaps into the air, completely vanishing from the entire game. And then he channels again for another few seconds and then lands down onto the spot that you've ulted. Before he lands, he does throw his spear into a little circle, and anyone in that area where the spear lands gets dealt damage, the same damage that your spear would, and slows them for 50%. And once he starts landing, he crashes down, creating a shockwave and dealing magic damage to anyone hit by the shockwave. Great thing about the ultimate is that even if you don't have your passive fully charged, once you cast it, your passive is fully charged, your next ability does the bonus effect. Runes! Let's move on to runes. So there's a few runes that I like to use on him and they're very common to use for him in different positions, and they'll be based on who you're fighting basically. So if you're in the mid lane or top lane, or in the bot lane, you're fighting something squishy or just someone who doesn't have a lot of health early. Electrocute is really good. You can proc it really quickly. It gives you a lot of burst damage really fast. Super useful if you want to just get that lead really early or just like kill them straight out level 1 or level 2. Conqueror is really good because you can proc it really quickly. You get the full stack amount super fast just by doing empowered W, Q, auto, something like that, giving you pretty much 12 stacks right away. It helps you later in the game. It's a consistent rune that's useful throughout the game, unlike Electrocute, which isn't super useful later on. Press the attack is also really useful if you're a support in the bot lane and you have a squishy support or ADC that you want to just Q really fast. You can get that press the attack proc really quickly with an empowered W because you hit 3 times. Deal a lot of damage, make them take bonus damage, super useful for squishy targets. A rune that I wanted to tell you, because I'm not going to go through the secondary runes, I'm just going to leave that to you to experiment a little bit with, but this rune I think is the most important, especially if you're going 1v1 in a side lane or in the mid lane. Time Warp Tonic is super useful because you're usually going to start with Corrupting Pot as your first item, and it really just gives you that bonus health healing and also damage that you need while fighting. Keeps your mana topped off while you're fighting as well, so you don't like use up all your mana, because your spells do use quite a bit of mana. Not your Q as much, but your other ones. And you can run out of mana pretty quickly if you just keep fighting and spamming them, so it's super useful to have. Gives you a little bit of movement speed as well. Really nice. So the items that we want to take along the way are pretty straightforward. You want to build Pantheon kind of fighter, bruisery kind of champion. You build a little lethality, especially if the enemy team is really squishy, you don't have a lot of tanks, and you want to take out targets really fast. I'm just going to give you the standard build that I run most games, build that I found the most success with. I start obviously with the Corrupting Pot as my first item because you want to have that fighting, especially if you're in the mid lane, you're getting poked out a lot, you need something to top you off, keep you healthy, and also if you just need to get a little bit of movement speed just to land your W before they like start running away. Obviously, if you're going support, you're going to take a gold item and 2 pots or something like that. You're going to run a more standard support build. After all that, you're going to start building Eclipse as your first item, your mythic item of choice. You can build other things like Trinity Force if you want, but Eclipse seems to be the best because you are like jumping in there. It's nice to have the shield, the bonus damage, the lethality, the Omnivamp. It kind of gives you everything that you like, especially as well as more armor pen to stack onto your passive as well. After Eclipse, you're going to probably build into Black Cleaver, Death Dance, and or Sterix Gauge. Black Cleaver is super useful taking out tanks. Death Dance is a great snowball item. As soon as you start getting takedowns, you get a bunch of healing, gives you some armor obviously, or Sterix if you just need to get that beefy shield that you need. Other situational items that you can build throughout the game, and that's up to you, but I'm just going to give you the core build, first 3 items to get you started off. So let's talk a little bit about how we want to play Pantheon and throughout the game, what we should be thinking about, what we should be doing. In the early game, you want to be super aggressive. Take your W first, start fighting like right away, and kind of gauge where you can fight the champion that you're fighting. If it's super tough, maybe not fight as much, and maybe roam more. If it's a really easy champion to fight with, just kill him. Just kill him. You are strongest early, and you want to play for that strength, because you want to really beat down your enemy laner as much as possible. Once you hit 6, you want to roam with your ult to snowball the other lanes. You can, especially if you're mid lane, you can hit both side lanes or the jungle. You have reach everywhere across the map, so use that to your advantage. Snowball other lanes because you don't want to just get strong, you want your other laners to get strong. And don't forget to pop, and do not forget to pop your pots while you're fighting. Especially early game, they're super useful. The Corrupting Pot gives you health and mana, but not just that, it gives you magic damage dot, a magic damage dot. Like, use it, please. It's really helpful, and it really gives you a lot of strength early on. Throughout the mid game, you're going to continue doing all of the stuff that you were doing, being aggressive everywhere, ulting where necessary. You have to keep the momentum you had in the early game to be useful later on in the game, because you start to fall off as soon as the mid game ends. And this is also a crucial point when you have to decide who you're going to like dive in on, because you kind of all in yourself and you're just kind of in there when you're fighting. So you have to choose who you want to fight. If you want to like fight the squishy targets, take them out really quickly if you can, or peel for your carries as much as possible. That's kind of your decision to figure out during this time, especially as other champions start getting stronger and your enemies start getting stronger. It's that point to figure that out. In the late game, you fall off. This is where you start to get weaker. Now, you don't get as weak as last season since you have your passive on your ultimate now. It gives you armor penetration up to 30%. Super useful, helps you on late in the game. The biggest issue with Pantheon was that he didn't deal a lot of damage later on in the game. Anyone really building like one armor item basically stopped Pantheon in his tracks. Now the armor pen kind of gives him a little bit of breathing room in the late game. You aren't as strong still as you were in the early game, but you are still pretty good. But don't expect to one-shot anyone at this stage in the game. You are not going to just like WQE and kill someone. Like, that's not going to happen. Really, you just want to pick your targets carefully, stun key targets in fights. Use your ult to turn fights where necessary, like at Baron or Dragon or wherever you need to be. Just keep your ult up. Maybe push a side lane up to a certain point. You're not really good pushing champion, although you can do a lot. If you're pretty fed, you have enough items, you can one-shot back minions and things like that pretty easily. You're not the slowest pusher, but you're not the best. And just keep up the momentum that you had in the mid game as best as possible. Okay, so matchup time. I'm gonna be adding these to every single guide because it's something I always completely forgot, and we are going to talk about some matchups, not every single one, but a few of the more difficult ones and a few of the easy ones. Now, pretty much everything is pretty easy for Pantheon in pretty much any lane. He's super strong early game, and you can usually snowball into the mid game with, you know, if you have a little bit of inkling of what you should be doing. Now, there are a few difficult matchups for him that are kind of maybe not impossible, but definitely really hard. You have to be careful of. I would talk about top lane and mid lane specifically because I don't play much support Pantheon, but I've played it a few times. Really, it isn't really difficult for Pantheon and support unless you're fighting like a super tank that has a lot of CC. So just be aware of that. But in the top lane, Garen and Yorick are pretty tough to lane against. Garen, for one, you're an ability-based champion, and what does Garen have? He has a silence, and that stops your abilities, so it makes you really weak. Also, his spin isn't interruptible by your stun. He can just spin on you while you're stunning him, doing damage. You're both like, you're getting out traded. He has healing, you don't. He has shielding, you don't. He has resistances, you don't. The only thing you have on him is an invulnerability, but that's about it. Yorick is tough because he has range on you, and also he deals damage to you while you're dealing damage to him. His little minions can like poke your butt and really deal damage to you. He has a circle wall that kind of keeps you away. He has healing as well, so just be aware that Yorick can just completely turn a fight on you when he summons his maiden. All of a sudden, Yorick is just killing you and you're not dealing any damage to him, so just be aware of that. Wait for ganks, maybe roam a little bit if you're having problems, farm with your Q if necessary. In the mid lane, Azir and Annie are probably the tougher matchups. Actually, I'll throw in Anivia there because I've had difficulties with her as well. Azir obviously is really rough for you because he's super range. He keeps you away, he slows you down, he has a dash, he can get away from you really easily. And then at level 6, if you try to all in him, he's just going to ult you under tower or into a jungler. It's just really rough matchup. You can't stick to him. He's really tricky to like stick to and stuff like that. Lots of range, and he'll just poke you out and you'll have to leave lane lots. Annie and Anivia are kind of the same champion in regards that they really like you to be in range of their abilities. They do not care about your damage. They just want to kill you. They have stuns. Anivia has walls. They both deal lots of damage. Anivia, especially since she just got buffed, is really hard because she just all of a sudden deals a ton of damage. If you're in melee range with them, it's really easy for them to land stuns on you, and all of their stuns don't get diminished, so they land their full stun duration. You're kind of screwed. So just be aware, especially after level 6 for both of them. Anivia has the ultimate that slows you. You don't want to stick into that. Annie has the bear. She can turn the fight with her bear and stuff like that. Really good to gank for them. Their junglers love to gank for them because they have really easy CC, especially against you. Wait for jungles, roam a lot, farm with Q. That's really the bottom line for hard matchups for Pantheon. Pantheon, wow. Imagine that. And that's it. That's all I have to say about Pantheon. That's pretty much everything to get you started, getting the ball rolling. He's a really fun champion. I really enjoy him. He's probably one of my picks for this season coming up. I haven't really decided what my other picks are aside from Azir. Also, this video is a little bit different. I don't have the face cam doing this kind of thing where I'm just talking into the microphone. This is all to start a new format for guide videos and maybe other videos going into the future. I've come to the realization that I really love making the videos and I want to make more of them for you guys, and but I also want to grow the channel, and that requires more frequent uploading. And I know you guys are saying just make them when you want to, do this, do that. I was like, I do, but I don't make them frequently enough, and I really want to work harder at upping the frequency of uploads. Now, unfortunately, when that happens, it means quality is going to be sacrificed. So I'm trying to find a good medium, like a compromise with the frequency of uploads without sacrificing too much of the quality, because I really do put a lot of effort into the videos. Hopefully this type is good and you still enjoy the videos as they are. I'm still going to do the long-term projects like the highlight videos that are highly edited and take a bit of time, but they won't be as frequent since, well, they take more time. And I have other projects in the works as well, and I'm trying to figure out some other videos that I want to make. But while I'm doing those, I need something to upload for, so that the algorithm loves me, okay? I just want the algorithm to love me a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit. I just want a little bit of love, okay? If you really like the video, hit the like button. If you want to see more videos that I make guide videos on League of Legends. I also make other videos pertaining to the game. Leave a comment down below. Please give me feedback on the video. First of all, if you enjoyed the guide, did it really help you? Was it enough information? Tell me how you like the format. especially those who've been watching me for a while. Please let me know. I want to get feedback about these videos if they're kind of, you know, a bit, if there's not too much quality sacrificed. I'm trying to figure out ways to reduce the time it takes to edit them. That's basically the idea. And also, if you want to get notifications, hit the bell button. When I upload a video, you get notified. Also, I stream on Twitch. I try to do it every day at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I try very hard, but I don't always get every day. So my schedule is kind of weird, but I try every day to stream at 2 o'clock EST. And yeah, come join the stream. We hang out, have fun. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!